death a lot.
I'm immortal now.
Basically immortal. Okay, Koki then. Let us begin with Mara, because we haven't been to you for a long while.
I'm deeply terrified.
Be fine. All right. It is now the summer. As we figured out when we did our House Fortune rolls stuff with the house with the Greenmont fam in between the seasons. So Highgarden has come alive. This place is beautiful with flowers, golden roses everywhere, hanging off every wall, every little gazebo in a small garden. Yeah, Susie, there's a few ladies with hay fever, little hankies. And I imagine you keep yourself mostly to the inner bailey and the keep itself. There's a few games now that the summer is high in the like the hedge mazes out in the middle bailey, in between the massive curtain wall that protects the keep and the lower wall that's kind of out on one of the outer walls. Singers are on every corner. There's like wistful music playing anywhere around the keep. But there is someone still absent. That is Lord Tyrell himself. So Lord Tyrell has been at King's Landing for the Hand of the King's tournament. And that tournament was to celebrate his son Valar's name day. It's been a few weeks now, and so he is expected back. So it's no surprise to you when you hear a rumour that the small column is heading down the Rose Road over the bridge and to Highgarden proper. And so the Inner Bailey soon becomes a sweeping throng of people. Lordlings and courtiers, musicians, even scribes. Everyone you'd expect for the business of Highgarden to be here is starting to flood the balconies and the Inner Bailey near the barbican of the inner wall. And slowly but surely, some knights start riding out in front and then make way and part for Longthorn, Leo Tyrell, who is stepping forward on a beautiful white charger, tall, with green satin trappings patterned with golden roses. He walks it up to the keep, and there are cheers and claps, flowers thrown from the occasional longing female courtier, and then a herald walking on foot by him proclaims, "Lord Tyrell, Warden of the South and Lord of Highgarden, has placed third at the Hand of the King's tournament of King's Landing," and prattles on about some winnings and who he rode against and such like that. And Lord Tyrell is doing a nice kind of like, yeah, waving, isn't this fun? Aren't I cool? Look at me, kind of attitude and stuff. Is there anything you want to do in the courtyard here? You're joined by your husband, Lord Alistair Oakhart, just to see Leo come in through the barbican. Following Lord Tyrell is his steward, your cousin-in-law, Sir Gawain Oakhart, who is riding on another grey horse. This time with the green and so it's actually more like more of a yellow field with the green flowers, green leaves of the Oakhart heraldry. Lord Alistair points him out to you, just to be like, oh, he did take, it's good to see that Gawain is still well, and you see a young lad actually, who is in Tyrell colours, with olive skin, dark hair, quite a young boy of 10, thereabouts, run up to Lord Tyrell and his horse, take the reins, and walk him through the inner bailey, through the parting crowd.
I guess I should probably note this because a lot of time has passed, but Mara definitely spent some period, let's say, reached Highgarden, doing exactly what she told Alistair that she would, and that was mourning for Oliver. And
Sure.
that would have been a hard couple of weeks, I imagine, where she was quite distant at points. How far along is she in her pregnancy now?
I mean, she's going to only be a couple of weeks at most, maybe at most a month and a half kind of time, I think. She's definitely not showing at this point.
Okay.
It is very early in your pregnancy.
I imagine that she is, in this moment, just trying her best to enjoy this display. This is kind of a sense of normalcy from everything that has happened, and for a bit she kind of just sinks into that. She sinks into the vibrancy of these flowers, the arrival of someone back at Highgarden, and being there with Alistair. But I think underneath it there is a nervousness, because at some point conversations have to be had about everything that has happened before, and she just wants to do that, and she wants to, in her mind, just go home back to Old Oak and try to live something normal for a bit. But she's caught up, I think, at least I imagine, if the weather's been good the last couple of weeks, in just trying to settle back into court life and trying to keep the mindset that she can kind of forgive Alistair for everything, even if she hasn't quite done that yet.
For sure. I mean, I think court itself has had a nice respite while, in a way, while Lord Tyrell is away, tourneying. His wife, the Beauty Beyond the Mountains, has been just taking any serious, urgent business at court as needed. But there hasn't really been any other lordly business over the last few weeks. You hear a woman behind you whisper something about this being an egotistical farce, something. That he should be dealing with something else, something more important going on.
I think that Mara looks at Alistair, and that whisper is almost a reminder of what she thinks is about to come over the next week or few days. She looks at him and says, "We've been here a little while now. I expected that we would have heard word that perhaps Martell would have sent a raven after everything that happened. Now he's back. You know that this is going to be something that comes up. She won't let this lie. I know her."
And he's slow in his reply as he avoids your gaze at all, but isn't now looking at the procession. He's kind of looking down a little bit at his feet, at anything else really. But he does eventually say, "You know her better. Do you think she would come here?"
"I don't know, but I know she wouldn't keep quiet about it, Alistair. Forgetting who was right and who was wrong. In her eyes, she'll never accept that Oliver was a murderer in cold blood. I'm not even sure I can accept that. But you want me to trust you, and so I do. I don't think you would have intentionally hurt me or her for anything other than what you thought was the truth. But she'll never see that as the truth. She lost one husband. She lost my father. And I don't know. I don't know if she'll come here. I don't know if she'll want to make that journey and leave the house with no one at its seat, but she'll send word. And perhaps it may be better for us to approach the Lord Tyrell with such an issue before word reaches him through other sources, if it hasn't already.
We could try that. As he looks up, Sir Gawain on his grey horse strides up towards the two of you. And tall, like his younger cousin, your husband, he sits astride the top of his charger, looks down and greets his younger cousin. And they exchange some pleasantries. You can tell there's an energy about Alistair that really admires his older cousin. There's a jovial quality about Sir Gawain. It almost seems infectious. Seems excitable. And that rubs off on Alistair a bit. It's almost such a juxtaposition. You're having such a serious conversation, and then he is almost a little bit swept up in the tournament and what was going on. But he does introduce you in a sense and says, "You remember my wife, Lady Mara."
And Mara will greet him with the same courtesy and respect. If anything, although it's, there's a moment I think that it takes her to adjust to this sudden change in dynamic. I think she is, like I said, she's kind of glad to be swept up in some of this happier nature and kind of falls in with it if she can. And I feel like it's probably been an odd few weeks of switching between this and serious conversations, and it's
I'm seeing as Sir Gawain is here. He is Lord Tyrell's steward. Essentially the kind of similar Hand of the King style role here in the Reach. While he's here, is there anything you want to do? Is there anything you want to try and get out of the situation?
I think perhaps I imagine that Mara is holding Alistair's hand here, and she's like wrapped quite close to him. And I imagine that she kind of gives him that gentle nudge and the look that says, there's perhaps something you should ask, in that kind of hint of maybe find out if the Lord Tyrell is seeing anybody, if we can get an audience. I imagine this might be something that they've talked about. This topic has probably come up a few times since they've arrived, that we should probably say something, we should probably be prepared. And I think she takes this moment to try to nudge him in that direction.
For sure. I tell you what, roll me a Formidable 12 status test. So this is going to be your status. You just have to click status. I am going to say that the specialty dice could be... I could take suggestions, anything from like kind of reputation, even breeding.
I guess I'll go for breeding, because although Greenmont has kind of suffered, I guess Mara benefits from some prestige from being married to an Oakhart and being kind of within that. So I will go with that.
I realised that my little roll window on the stream is too small to get the top of the thing. But we got 13, which is just one over what you needed, which is fab. So yeah, Alistair presses upon his cousin that there is something he needs to talk to him about that is important. And Sir Gawain is quite dismissive at first, as if, well, we've just got back. This is fun, we're gonna eat tonight. We're gonna drink. It's gonna be great. And he's like, well, actually, no, it is quite important. This thing happened, and Sir Gawain he reads the room.
I think perhaps Mara maybe would step in when he tries to kind of play it down a bit, and kind of leans in and very quietly is like, it would be very, very appreciated if perhaps you could. I am with child, and the stress of this it's not good for me. I'm sure you understand. The sooner we get this cleared up, the sooner we can go back to Old Oak and I can take some proper rest.
Are you in trouble, my lady? He asks from his horse.
Not so much in trouble, no, but I'd like to prevent things from getting out of hand before, well, you know how things are at court. Leave things too long and they seem to fester and grow lives of their own.
As you say that, Lord Tyrell motions to the crowd to stop them, and says, "My lords and ladies of the Reach and the Dornish Marches, all is not as jovial as it might seem coming from the tourney, the hand of the king. There, it seems, we received a message from across the narrow sea, in the form of the corpse of Lord Arryn. There, in a shower of Daemon's silver," and as it says Daemon's silver, you can hear a few of the ladies and men gasp around you. Exactly. Where was I? In a shower of Daemon's silver, he was struck on horseback, in the lists, perched atop a stolen horse. And with this message, I believe at least, that the bastard Aegor Rivers wishes to let it be known that he is not given up. And that we are to expect another visit from the Blackfyres. And he looks about the crowd who are now fixed on his gaze. He says, "Stay vigilant. Let the guard know of anything you see that might be suspicious." And then he trots off as people start to gossip around you and talk amongst themselves. The lady behind you, who was whispering earlier, is now asking an older knight who is with her what this might mean for the Reach and what this might mean for the Northern Reach, particularly. The North Marches, I think they're called.
I think Mara takes a moment to take that in, and she understands what this means. She remembers what happened before the last rebellion. She remembers that build-up period, that fear, those first warnings that something might be happening. And she just looks at Alistair and draws his hand closer over her stomach. And she looks at him and she's like, "It can't. This... not again."
Might just be a parting shot. Let's see what transpires. We have
she's
our own
gripping
things to deal with.
She's gripping his hand just that little bit too tight to just be upset. There is a fear in that as she looks at him. Maybe you're right. Maybe it's just that. And she kind of loosens, she realizes she's holding on too tight and kind of loosens her grip. She tries to smile, but her ability to lean into the nicer bits of this morning is now gone. Especially as everyone around her is gossiping, there's nothing else for her to kind of try and fade into and pick up on. But she doesn't let go of Alistair.
For sure. Because I think I've got a fair bit to cover tonight. So apart from explaining to Sir Gawain, or getting at least Alistair to explain to Sir Gawain what happened from his own perspective, obviously, what would there be anything else you'd want to do with or try and impress upon Sir Gawain? Either convince him of something, either charm him to try and get him on side, incite him against even incite him against the Ironwoods or the Greenmonts, or is there something you would want to do there from the persuasion specialties that might prompt you?
I think perhaps she would want to try and talk to him, not necessarily to convince him to lie or to give any falsehood, but obviously it's very clear that he and Alistair were somewhat close to some degree. There is clearly a relationship there. They weren't just distant cousins that never spoke that often. But I think what she wants more than anything is for him to support her husband's character when this is brought up from somebody that knew him and has known him for a long time, that the acts that took place were done in the best of faith. But I also think that there is a point where she would also want to try and write to Marcia.
Sure. All right, why don't you roll for me against passive will for Sir Gawain. So it's a simple intrigue, essentially. We're not going to play out the whole thing. Just a single roll from yourself. Persuasion, convince.
Okay.
21.
21,
Yeah.
and then were any of those ones? So my screen is not being big enough to look at this.
No, there were the dice you dropped were 2, 3, and 4.
Cool. And then so I get +1 to that because it's persuasion, and then +2 to convince tests. So 21, 22, 23, 24 in total.
Fab. Yeah. I mean, that is fantastic. So yeah, you absolutely impress upon him that whatever Alistair did, it was in good faith. And the thing that Alistair impresses upon Sir Gawain actually as well that might surprise you, is that he didn't want to kill Sir Oliver. He wanted to capture him, bring him to Highgarden to answer for his crimes.
I think, if anything, that is the one thing that Mara does believe. Even if in the back of her mind she doesn't believe that Alistair really thought he'd done anything wrong. I think the one thing that, whether she wholeheartedly does or she's forced herself over the last 2 weeks and convinced herself of this, that the kill was never intentional. I think there's a part of her that thinks that if it was, it wouldn't have been done the way it had been done.
Cool. All right. After that, before dinner, you can absolutely head off and write a letter to Marcia. That's your homework, either while Susie is doing her thing or whenever you want to send it over to me or whatever. I'll put it in my little spreadsheet of letters, and then we'll roll a Raven at some point and see if see if it does get to her, because obviously in the meta we know now she's leaving. So that will be received by somebody. But yeah, absolutely.
I think she is also honest with Alistair that she's going to send a letter. She's not going to say too much, but she also feels and hopes that he would respect that, this is a problem for her because she can't go home. She can't go home and try to explain it, and she can't leave without saying something. She has a little sister that she hopes will be returning to Fox Hollow at some point. And the thought of knowing how much Miria loves Oliver and how close they were, she can't bear the thought that she doesn't get to put voice to her experience that someone might care to listen to or at least understand.
I see people, fam. It's all what Game of Thrones is about. Love it. All right. Miria.
Hello.
It's your turn now. And you, in fact, have a bit of a similar scene with the arrival of the Martells. Ironwood has, in its sense of population, doubled in size temporarily as the fleet disembarks. People arrive with different food, animals, livestock, wine. You see all this stuff come away, everything that could support a feasting for several days, in a sense. There are a handful of mummers. There's like a small troupe here that have begun performing. There's stuff like puppeteers that are popular here this far south, as well as some singers as well. So Ironwood has turned from this quite militaristic atmosphere that you have been used to from Frederick and his posse of dudes to this kind of carnival, almost. Some tents have popped up in the Inner Bailey. Quarters have been cleaned out. You've been moved a few doors down just to make way for some higher kind of who are the fleet assigned to? It's the Master of Ships, isn't it? It's like, it's that weird name, isn't it?
Gargalen.
Yeah. So it's one of the higher upper lordlings of that have turfed you out of your room that you were enjoying as a sand of this house. Gargalen. But as all that has begun to happen, you are lined up with the rest of the household outside the front of the keep, just in the Inner Bailey there, to do the shaky hands with the Queen bit, with for the Martells as they head up the line. Maron Martell at the front, followed by Daenerys, and then followed by Horatio, who is introducing people. How aware are you of the animosity between these two houses?
I think she knew of it from Oliver. I don't think he ever fully told her the complete circumstances of why he hates the Martells, and sort of the storied beef there. But I think that she knows a little bit of the history because Miri was really interested in like Dawn's history growing up. So she would have learned that, she would have known the Ironwoods were kings at one point and Nymeria came over.
Sure. Anything about his personal history, his exile?
I don't know. I don't think he probably told her the whole story. Maybe.
Sure.
Maybe like the loose bones of it, but not the details of it.
So you shuffle a little in the heat of this line as they walk up the group of the household that have been assembled here. And finally, Maron Martell stands before you. He's a handsome man with a full salt and pepper beard, wavy black hair that's been brushed back and falls about his sides, about his ears. How tall is Miria at this point?
She's like your average 13-year-old height, like 5 foot something. Yeah. I don't know how tall people are. I was 6 foot, like at 14. I don't know how heights work.
Let's say let's say surprisingly, Maron doesn't stand too tall above you. And his wife Daenerys, although she is praised as being this absolute beauty, one of the most beautiful women that has meant to have ever lived, in the sun here today, she doesn't strike you as anything exceptional. But she is a petite woman with soft features and the long Targaryen white hair that is braided up in a clever mix of Targaryen and Dornish fashion, with ornaments, quite prized, beautiful, probably quite rich ornaments. You can just tell from looking, as she is in this beautiful silken dress that has been dyed so elegantly as if to invoke fire, as it's a rich red going into orange from the bottom up to the top, and then a beautiful yellow at the shoulders. But Lord Martell extends a hand out to you, and it gives you a very shallow bow. And Horatio introduces you. My prince, this is Casella Sand. She is the daughter of Sir Oliver, formerly of this house. And with that, you see something play before Maron's eyes as he looks at you. Just down slightly from his gaze. My lady.
Maria will do like the correct and polite greeting. So she'll probably, curtsy as is appropriate. Just my prince.
He is well, let me check his stat actually. I wanna play this to his social stats. Okay. He gives you his beard and his mustache curls into a smile as you curtsy, and he says softly, more to Horatio than to you, as he turns to his left, and he asks, "Tell me, does the apple fall far from the tree?" And Horatio just laughs. And says, "Oh, we are yet to tell." And as they walk on to Daemon, as she is introduced as your aide, your handmaiden. How are you styling her here?
Oh, I forgot what we said.
At Ironwood.
I think we were like sort of playing her off as like Maria's like aide or handmaiden.
Okay. I mean, she is not like she's not paused upon. There is like this. She doesn't spend a lot of time with them there. But as you are distracted by him approaching Daemon, you're like, what is going on here? You do hear a little from in front of you as you turn to look up again, and just above your eye line is the face of Daenerys, as she looks down at you with soft features but the piercing light purple eyes of dragon.
And again,
and
Maria...
she holds out a little dainty hand.
Maria again will do the correct and polite greeting.
All right.
And she says, "You look quite beautiful today."
She I don't play too snooty, but she I can imagine she's heard that a lot today. So you get a very run of the mill stilted like, "Thank you." And she was like, "That's my best drag queen thank you for RuPaul." "Thank you." And then she's just like off. Like no fucks given. Cool. All right. Well, with that, you are the Martells are shown to their quarters. I mean, you there is a line like you're introduced to the Gargalans, the some of the like you're introduced to like the chief ship cook thing, and like they probably have like a cabin boy that's like basically like the squire of like a house, and this is the cabin boy, and you're like, fucking great. All right.
It's fucking hot. Go inside.
Yeah, and I hate this. It is boiling. The silken dress that down the sides is sodden by the time that you get back into the shade. I actually like to think that what they've done is they've set this up so that you're all stood in the bright sunshine, and they're walking underneath this little colonnade in the shade, and there's a little breeze and stuff as the architecture helps it. But you're stood out there like this bit's red, and like you've got a little bit of white on the back there. It's just like fuck me.
Yeah.
But you as a sand, I keep having to remind myself this week that they are not treated as badly as bastards in the north. So you are kind of almost like a member of the family. You just have a run of the castle. You can kind of do what you like. You have your duties, and that is something that has been kind of given to you by Lady Ironwood. But you are free to pursue whatever you like before there is to be a feast. One of many tonight.
Good. Okay, so after this receiving line from hell and the hour stood in the sunshine and Maria just high key wants to die, I think she is going to use this as an excuse to be like, I must just stay inside for a bit. It's a bit, she plays off on the heat has gotten to her, so she's going to retire to her chambers until it's time for the feast. And it will be a case of grabbing Daira and being like, okay, let's go through what I pilfered from the Solar. Let's
Sure.
see what we got.
All right. So you flick through these correspondence, some of them from several Dornish houses, a few of them from Sunspear, a few of them even from some traders beyond the Salt Shore. But what I'd like you to do is roll me a second research test,
Okay.
and then I'll check what it's different kind of weird difficulties between.
Research.
What you...
That's under education, right? No.
It is, yeah.
Knowledge.
Yeah. Knowledge, and it's one of the specialties.
Dang it! I don't have research. I have education, but whatevs.
Okay, education's what you've learned, and research is being able to figure it out for yourself.
I would like to use that die that Charlie gave me.
Sweet, yeah, no problem.
The keep die.
Yeah, let me flip off here for you. Cool. I'll spend
drop
that.
0.
Beautiful.
Do we put a 0 in the Dropbox for the custom thingy? I think so, right?
Can do. But
Yeah.
you can leave it blank as well, I believe.
Okay. We'll see. Oh! That's a 19.
I didn't even see that roll. What's going on? My roll 20 been weird.
It might be.
Oh, here it is. It just took a little while. I think because it's a macro, sometimes they take a while, don't they?
Yeah.
A 19 is good.
Oh!
A 19... Because it's... Because the difficulty depends on how specific your knowledge is. So, or the information you're trying to get, how sought after it is, and how secretive it is. What I tend to do is I tend to use this as a scale. So if you're going to get a low result, you're going to get some basic info. But then if you get a higher result, then I'm just like, yeah, you get the shiz. So a 19 is a very hard success. So this is very rare or guarded knowledge. So you get it. But you know me, I like to show not tell. So I've got some info for you.
Oh, we got goodies. Chat says they can't see the rolls, BT dubs.
Yeah, I've been rubs and I have put them right at the top.
Oh.
And now it's all gone funny. Because it should be full screen. Yeah, I clear the chat box before the top of the stream. After the next few rolls, I tell you what I'll do. Shall I just I'll roll some agility tests for Maron.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's an 11.
It's not very fast.
That's a 6. That's a 7. We getting them? Wow. We're getting them now. That's all right. Simple fix. Okay, where are my notes? Good start. Okay. These documents show correspondence. The ones that you hone in on are between Maron Martell and Horatio. They show a pattern of discussion that you spend the afternoon delving through and discussing with Daira for the arrangement of this marriage to the young Lady Jane Martell and Horatio. This arrangement was done without the knowledge of Lord Otto and Lady Mama Ironwood. Forgot her name now. Was Jane the mum, or was Jane's the wife?
I think
right?
it's Helena, right?
Helena is the mum. That's right.
And Jane is the wife.
Jane is the wife. But yeah, this marriage has been arranged without his parents' knowledge or consent. There are records of a dowry being paid up front to Horatio. This marriage. And then Daira stumbles upon and points out to you correspondence from Martell himself, asking about some details of the makeup of the Ironwood forces and the amount in their coffers. This is not necessarily massively out of the ordinary. But the fact that they were found with this bunch of correspondence and letters and stuff, and in this little, like, locked cabinet, there could well be a link there, you feel.
Oh, that's juicy. I think things start to like click from what Oliver had told Maria about Horatio, and I feel Oliver definitely told her that Horatio was supposed to go to the wall too. And I think she sort of turns to Daira and says, "This is what's he trying to achieve here?"
This is the Prince, a Lord Paramount, speaking to, at the time, I would imagine, the heir to the house here.
Yes.
He is... I do remember that Lord Otto was not in a good way before he died. Lady Helena was looking after the house here herself, really.
Is this his way of ensuring that Horatio remains loyal to the Martells?
Probably. Given the animosity and the ancient rivalry of the houses.
So he'd sell his family down the river for some short-term gain for himself.
Looks that way.
That sounds about right from what I know of him.
This is a handsome dowry. Advance payments, too. You're working with the Maester?
Yes.
Be interesting to know if those funds made their way into the house coffers. I'm willing to bet they didn't.
Yeah,
not if he was corresponding with Lord Maron, Prince Maron, privately.
Especially if Lord and Lady Ironwood had no idea about any of it.
Exactly.
It explains the atmosphere when he returned from Sunspear.
And look here. And she points down to you here. For such a good role, I'm going to give you one last thing. And she points out a sentence at the bottom of one of the letters, just as they're wrapping up, and some of it's quite inconsequential. But then you just see the line, "It's a shame he didn't die at the tourney."
Oh. Okay. Oof. I think Maria's jaw visibly clenches and her little fist clenches up. And through her clenched teeth, she says, "Well, that explains why he didn't go to the wall then."
Yes, it does.
And I suppose that explains the comment at the receiving line.
You did say to me once that Sir Oliver thought that it was Horatio that had it out for him.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it was necessarily Horatio.
No, I don't think so either. Not judging by this. I wonder if this has anything to do with his exile.
Probably. Some more personal grudge than just a ancient political matter.
It's so much trouble, so much money and people just to satisfy a grudge.
She stands, leaving you with the letters on your now crappy straw bed in one of the lower guest rooms, and she walks out into the kind of box room a little bit more, kind of towards the door. She doesn't have much space to go to, but she does turn around and she says with very concerned look on her face, "My lady, this is the Game of Thrones. Are you sure you want to be getting into this?"
And Miriam meets her eyes and she has a very determined look in them. And she says, "I don't think we have a choice. Not anymore."
You were to put those back into the cabinet.
Mm-hmm. Of course.
You're going to get into it. I might as well teach you a little bit of the craft.
I would be very grateful. Might help our chances.
But find the financial records and see if the money moved anywhere into them. Or if Horatio kept it for himself. And there's a knock on the door just behind her. She's like,
I stuff the letters under my mattress.
and she opens it slowly. And it's a page, essentially, like giving you the details of this evening's feast. You are to be seated at the head table.
Ooh.
On the end of the stage left. Next to a Lady Ironwood, as in Lady Jane. The young lady. Alrighty. Mara. Back over to you. After your business with Sir Gawain, you are essentially kind of free to do as you need. Lord Tyrell has called his small council to discuss the message from Tyrosh. And essentially to kind of have a little Cobra meeting to figure out like what are they gonna do. You know,
which DEFCON level are we at today?
Yeah, they've just upped the bikini rating, right? Like just what are we on now? Imminent? I don't know. And yeah, so they're chatting away. So you've got the bright summer afternoon. There's a few beautiful white clouds in the sky and birds on the wind as well. As you're in a summer garden in one of the inner baileys, little kind of courtyards. Singer on the corner strums out a little tune, something reminiscent of the war, as that's the turn of the mood that's taken Highgarden this afternoon. But you're enjoying just a private cold tea with Alistair, when the familiar figure of a middle-aged man wearing black and gold shows up to your table, and his gingerbread chops from his face frame a smile as he looks down on you, and he says, "My lord, my lady, might I join you?" As Lord Costain bows quite low.
Mara kind of looks to Alistair to make sure there's no immediate, hesitation there, and says, "Of course, do sit down." She'll pour him a tea.
Nice. There's Susie like railing in chat, and James is just like, "Oh, I like this guy."
I like to think that perhaps Mara at this point in time is just like mid conversation with Alistair. So as Costain sits down, she kind of finishes that. She says, yes, perhaps later I'll inquire to see if my brother did leave as I asked him to. Perhaps he left a message for me to be here. I haven't really checked. I haven't had the time. If that's okay, if you don't have any plans for this evening. In that she actually hasn't since she's been here. She knows that Simon isn't here. Because I imagine she might have sent word ahead and never really heard anything.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, you've got this to kind of figure out and wrap up. Yeah.
Yeah, and she, as far as she assumes, Simon has done what she asked in her letter and gone to Dawn to meet with the Black Monks.
Yeah.
And so she's hoping that perhaps he has left a note for her or something, but I imagine between having her pregnancy checked and trying to sort out kind of moving back into Highgarden for this period and general all of the court courtesies that you have to do and the people that you see, just hasn't really had that chance.
Yeah.
And I imagine that's what she's talking to Alistair about when Costain sits down. Lord Costain, to what do we owe the pleasure?
I would like you to roll a status breeding test for me, please.
Okay.
Just click on that breeding and submit a couple of times, and you're set.
Why did that not let me do a thing? Did that roll?
No.
Okay. Please roll 20. Let me click things on my character sheet.
Yeah.
There we go. It just didn't want to come up with a box to let me roll.
Fair enough.
17.
17's good. 17's good. I won't even add his +2 as the head of house, because then that'll be a weird, awkward both on 17. So I'll just let you. I'll let you go. No, hang on. There's some cheat sheets there somewhere. I don't remember which end they are. Never mind. Well, we've got the PDF intrigue cheat sheet, the Sam's patented cheat sheet.
TM.
Available at all good games that we play together, including Crownlands. It was made for. So we are playing with a little bit of a house ruled version of stuff to simplify it for stream. Unfortunately, I mean, you'll be good with iterations and versioning and pretending that's fine, right? Because so this isn't quite what we do, because I still like to keep some of the other mechanics in that we're not using on Crownlands. So the disposition and the modifiers based off of that we're still keeping. This cheat sheet has a reduced amount of dispositions on it from 1 to 5, whereas we have 1 to 7. But the cheat sheet has got the kind of process through which we'll go through things. I realise you said, like, you've forgotten how to play the game, and I've thrown you right into a standard intrigue, like, social combat straight away. But
it's fine. We'll figure it out, Sam.
Yeah.
I can do this.
Yeah, for sure. So this is choose your objective. So what you want to achieve, this could be a friendship, get some information, get them to do a service for you, or you could just try and deceive your opponent. So this is going to form the basis of your interaction, your argument with Costain. And ultimately, if you if you win the intrigue, then you will get him to do the thing you want, and we'll do a little bit of meta of what that is, and then we can roleplay it out a little bit if you want. You do need to decide what your disposition is. So your disposition could be from affectionate, number 1, to friendly is DR2, amiable is DR3, indifferent is DR4, and then it goes down to 7 through dislike, unfriendly, and malicious.
If I remember right, I believe that at some point Mara was kind of charmed by Costain at one point.
Yeah.
I seem to vaguely remember, because I have a bonus to persuasion test with him because of it. Or some weird stuff. I know I've got that on my sheet.
You might have charmed him.
Ah, okay, it might be that way around. It was way back in season 1, but I have it on my sheet that she gets bonuses to persuasion tests against Costain.
All right, I will let.
So I'm not sure which way around it was, but I know she was suspicious a bit of him, but not to a point that she disliked him. She was just like, I don't know what your game is. You're very nice, but
that is such a mood. That is such a mood. You're being very nice.
It's just like, I don't know if you're bad. You're just being very nice, and I don't know why.
Yeah, right.
But he did also buy her fancy goblets, so she's kind of okay with that bit.
Yeah, the fancy goblets. I remember now.
I imagine that those travel with them both. Like, I imagine that is what they use at feasts. And
can we say you're using them now? That would be a lovely touch.
Yeah, there's also some wine with the tea because it's Game of Thrones. Why would you not have wine in the morning?
I mean, don't drink and have babies, but sure. This is the pseudo medieval times. Cool. Okay. So we've got the objective disposition. Yeah. So when with your disposition rating, the DR is essentially your armor. That's how much composure damage is going to soak, and then you apply the remainder to your composure. But bear in mind, I mean, if you've got the PDF of the book handy, you might want to drag up page 143 because that's got the modifiers as well.
Oh, so, I don't have the PDF handy, but I've got the book on the shelf.
Oh, just go ahead and grab it. 143, yeah, in the actual pagination.
I do have one more question.
Yeah.
Would my composure have reset from whatever last intrigue I did? Because it's currently sitting at 4.
Yeah,
so
it's like stress. It refreshes at the end of a combat.
Cool. Yeah. Oh gosh, where are the modifiers gone? After here. Okay.
Like top right of the page. So if you love somebody, it's harder to lie to them, but it's easier to persuade them to do stuff. If you hate someone, it's easier to lie to them, but it's harder to actually try and be reasonable and persuade them to do stuff. That kind of thing. So bear that in mind as you might shift up and down. And that's your modifier. So you'll only soak say you're friendly towards him, which I probably think is where this is kind of at now, right? So you'll only soak 2 of the composure damage he might do to you. You're at -1 to the result to deceive him, but you're at +3 to the result for persuading him to do stuff. So it's easier to actually try and get him to be on your side.
Yeah.
Funnily enough, because you believe it more, Cool. Okay. So you are going to go first. You have your objective, hopefully, and then you've worked out your disposition towards him, and then we choose the technique. So the technique is basically your persuasion specialties. You can always substitute persuasion for deception if you want to deceive him, or if you're not being truthful.
That would go badly.
Particularly truthful. It would go badly.
Yeah.
However, the different techniques are basically your persuasion specialties.
I have a lot of those.
But if you win with one of these techniques, it has a very specific outcome. So bargain, for example, and now I'm just using the cheat sheet. So bargain, for example, money will be exchanged for goods and services. You will literally that money will be on the table, or an exchange of wealth will take place somehow, and that's like bribing or bargaining or like whatever that is. If you use charm, then that is all that will happen, is that he will like you more. You won't really get anything else out of it much. You won't compel him to do something for you. It should be like, oh, Mara, isn't she swell? Like that, you'll get all that kind of stuff. If you convince someone, it's more literally about getting them to either do something or come round to your way of thinking. So that is more, you impress an idea upon somebody. So that is a bit more freeform, and you can say to me, I want him to go and jump off the Highgarden wall, and I'd be like, all right, you might think about it, but yeah, I guess probably. So you get him to kind of do something for you, or reveal something if you're looking for information. Incite is basically dropping his disposition against someone else. So it's like, that guy's a meanie, and he's like, yeah, he is a meanie, isn't he? He's terrible. It's bitching, Game of Thrones style. Yeah. If you intimidate, then that is like convince. It still gets the kind of same result as convince, but their disposition worsens towards you. So it might be easier, like some characters, it might be easier to intimidate somebody, but there's a cost to that, essentially. If you seduce somebody, then they start to maybe reciprocate those feelings. It is seduction, essentially. Playing off sexuality and natural kind of charisma like that. And then taunt is basically teasing him into doing something. So it's like, you know how rubbish you are at that thing? And he's like, yeah, well, I'm going to go do it and show you up anyway. And then off he goes.
Why am I not using that against Alistair every time?
Mate, it's manipulation 101. You're well rubs at war. Off I go.
You're well rubbish at being a house husband who doesn't go to war.
What do you mean? I'll love you more. Yeah, exactly, right.
I'm going to sit right here in these chambers and not leave.
Yeah. And I know I dumped these scenes on you guys, but you guys can absolutely say to me, right, I want to intrigue that fucker over there, and I have an objective, I want to go, and I'll be like, cool, let's do the scene.
I mean, I want to know what Costain wants. This is what Mara has been wondering the entire time, but he keeps showing up at inconvenient moments.
Hi, thought I'd just drop by. It's like an annoying Avon lady. Right. Don't know why I said that.
I mean,
right.
Mara did make out that she might be pregnant the last time he tried to sit down with them at breakfast to not have the conversation.
Yeah, that's fair. All right, cool. It's your turn to go first. So pick the technique, and what happens is I'll also pick the technique he wants to use, and then we'll role play, and then we'll actually pick the action that you want to do. So the technique is basically the kind of dice that you roll, but then the action is actually what you do. So you can assist, so you could gain a bonus dice to your roll. Whenever we have these kind of like multiple people intrigues, I usually break them down to two sides. So Alistair is going to give you a bonus dice on every single one of your rolls. Because it's like, this is my wife, and I'm really supportive. Consider gives you 2 bonus dice for the next round, but they don't stack and they don't save up. So if you miss it the next round, they're gone. Fast talk, basically it's a bit like how I imagine like disarming somebody might work. It's that you gabble on a bit and you confuse them. And then if you beat their passive cunning, then they lose their cunning rank from their intrigue defense. They're like, what? And then you're just like, yeah. And then you're just like, but the thing. And they're like, yeah, sure. All right. So there's that. Influence is your straight up attack. Influence is, I want you to do the thing. Roll my dice. Mollify is like healing, but I don't think you can do it to yourself. That's more taking frustration. You can quit. You can leave the intrigue. So it means that you won't be defeated, but they do come with narrative consequences. So it's like you'll storm off in a huff. Someone will see. You'll cause a scene. Alistair will never forgive you. I don't know. You know, something will happen. Retarget is our personal favourite, right? Retarget is make an awareness empathy test. If you beat their passive deception, then you get a keep dice. We have done a keep dice to your next persuasion test. Because retarget was fucking broken. So it's just the next persuasion test. But you get to learn their disposition, and you get to learn the technique they last used against you. Shield of Reputation is, do you know who I am? And that is a status reputation test versus their passive will. If you succeed, you improve their disposition by 1 step. So it's easier for you to, because there's less armor there, it's easier for you to get through. Withdraw is basically like a dodge action, but for intrigue. Roll a will dedication test. This replaces your intrigue defense until the end of the next exchange. And interestingly enough, you can yield. And yielding basically means that, right, Sam, my objective was this. What's his objective? We'll meet in the middle. So if this goes on for ages, I might do that. But also, it's a nice way of, if you've kind of figured out what he wants, and you personally as the player also feel that you like, I don't mind, and Mara won't mind, like, meet the compromise, then that's perfectly for yield. And it's a nice way of getting out of it that without causing a scene by quitting the intrigue as well. Cool. All right.
Okay.
So picking your technique.
I mean, I guess she's trying to kind of coax him into explaining why he's here. That's her kind of thing of, you know, what brings you here? Like, what can I do for you? What can we do for you? Because I think Mara is very well aware that nobody just joins somebody for breakfast out of the goodness of their hearts.
Is that just a simple convince, or are you how are you doing this? Because that ties the technique ties into that.
I think that because she is already kind of friendly with him, there is a little bit of that friendly. Clearly, there is something I can help you with. Please tell me what it is. But in that very polite kind of, you've come here for a reason. Come on, tell me what it is.
So
I think this is a convince for her, I think.
Okay, so you're being a bit more direct about it, and you are being kind of a bit.
But it's that polite sense, not in a like a what do you want, but like, clearly there is something you want to talk about. Please share this with me.
For the sake of the little narrative, I'm going to talk as if he's talking to Alistair and to you, but this is the intrigue. This is the kind of combat. Yeah. It's you and me, so we'll do that. But he says to Alistair in particular as well, just that I wanted to check in on you to make sure you were okay after the events at Fox Hollow, and you'll remember that he was there. He was there in the hall when it all kicked off. You know that much, certainly. Yeah. And he's speaking more to Alistair here to check in with Alistair. Alistair puts on a brave face about it, I think, and he's like, I'm fine. We are concentrating on our baby that's coming, and we are taking it as easy as we can here at Highgarden. He looks at you for some help.
I think this is where Mara steps in, and she, like, I thank you for coming to see us. It was quite a display. And I think at that, like, there's a very bit of her that like struggles to completely absolve Alistair of what he did in there, but it's not meant as a slight at him. She's like, but things happen, and I have more to worry about now than such gruesome events. And she clutches at her stomach, even though she's not showing it. I think she's already picked up that kind of, she's protective already. She's like, I think all I care more about now, or we care more about now, is dealing with the whole thing and taking some time after everything. A lot has happened. There has been no reprieve from any of it.
Highgarden is good for the soul in summer. And he kind of looks about him, and the rose bushes now fully bloom and all that kind of stuff. All right. Why don't you roll for me? Why don't you roll your convince test?
Okay. And you said Alistair gives me a bonus dice, right?
1 bonus dice. Absolutely.
That is 17 plus... God, where are all of her things? 17... When any of these ones? No. So 17, 18...
They were a few.
Oh, were they? I thought they were dropped.
Got
No.
3 1s, so you re-roll
3
those,
1s.
and then we check the whole result against each other, and we pick the best dice.
I have forgotten how to roll dice in this thing.
That's all right. /roll.
/ Yeah, there we go.
And then space, and how it XD6.
3d6.
Yeah. So there's a 3 and a 4 there. That's not going to be any of your highest dice, so it is still a 17.
Cool.
Add the modifier based on your disposition to that roll.
So 17, 18, 19, 20, and then all the other ones, 21, 22, 23, 24.
What?
She gets a lot of bonuses to persuasion and convince. This is her thing.
Jesus. All right. 24, he says as he sweats, is 3 degrees of success. Yeah. So what's the action? Are you just influencing straight up, or are you trying to do something funky?
No, I think she's just trying to influence straight up. I think she's trying to open that path of like, we're grateful that you've checked in, but there is obviously something. Please tell us what it is. It's again, it's in that polite way, the way that when a friend comes to you and you kind of know that there's something they want to say or something that they want, and you're kind of like, come on.
Yeah. Cool. All right. What is your will rank?
4.
Oof. All right. And 3 degrees of success. Multiply that up to 12. We're going to take off his disposition rating. I'm going to leave that there. All right. From based on that exchange, he is going to roll a read target. I'm going to use one of the test dice that I have from little donations. Boop. Let's just got my custom roller. Let's do that. Don't get any modifiers from that. So what is your deception multiplied by 4? Or what's the little number in the corner of the rank?
16.
Okay, so that succeeds. So he gets to know your disposition towards him, which I believe we said was friendly.
Friendly, yeah.
So DR2, isn't it? And then the last technique he used was straight up convince. Persuasion. Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
Just because, like, retarget, I always kind of a little homebrew as you get to figure out if they're being misleading or not. But yeah, you're being straight with him.
She's not trying to like twist his arm into it. She's kind of opening up that dialogue space.
Yeah, cool. All right, sweet. And so he gets a +1 dice on his next persuasion test against you. All right, so we're back up to kind of so we're into the next exchange. We pick the technique again, and then there is the role play.
I think that I feel like Mara is being very honest. I think if anything, the recent events have kind of maybe opened her eyes a little bit to quite how much deception had been happening and how much had been going on. And so I think at this point in her mind, she's like, if you're coming to me because you want something or you need to tell me something, I kind of just want you to tell me it. Like I feel like after the arguing with Alistair that I imagine happened all the way to Highgarden before they kind of leveled out, she's just a bit done with people not being straight with her. So I think she will go with convince, and I think her thing is just going to be, please, you have come for more than just checking up on us, I'm sure. What is it that you need? What is it that we can help with? Why are you here? And she's not being rude, she's just being very forward in that there's a conversation that's going to happen, so we might as well have it.
As I said, I'm here to see how you're holding up. But now he turns to you more and says, I'm to understand that Sir Oliver meant a lot to you. As he actually reaches one of those awful moments where he reaches a hand across the table towards you. Is it to try and take yours? To put his hand on top of yours? That kind of horrible.
I think she very kind of politely and friendly kind of pats the top of his hand as a sign that she is grateful for the notion. But I think she kind of very slowly, again, not rudely, just in the sense that she has taken the comfort that was intended from that, and kind of draws her hand back to pick up her tea. He did. He meant a lot to my father too. And it's a lot to come to terms with. Alistair has told me what it is that he knew. And was it Costain that told Alistair? Is that what Alistair said? I can't remember who he said told him about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Costain had told him because all from Alistair's perspective, Costain told him because Oliver confessed in his room to Costain when he came to investigate what was happening, that he'd killed Lord Peake.
Yeah.
Technically it's not a lie, but you know.
It's like, to think of him as somebody who would murder in cold blood is... I still struggle with it, I will be honest, and I still mourn for him. He was the closest thing to my father. He looked after me as a child. He walked me down the aisle at our wedding, and there are tears welling in her eyes as she thinks about this. But if he did what you told Alistair he did, if he did what he confessed to you, he should have stood trial. I can't help but think that if he did kill Peake, that there might have been a reason, that had he not acted so brashly when Alistair arrived to arrest him, that perhaps we could have found out what it was.
Yeah, Alistair.
You have to understand.
Alistair pipes up at that point too, and says, "And I did. I fully intended to take him and capture him, bring him to Highgarden."
And she takes Alistair's hand at that point and kind of puts it in her lap affectionately, and she's like, I know. I think that perhaps, like all of us, you have made some mistakes, Alistair, but I don't think that you would murder in cold blood a man that you knew meant so much to me. Despite the fact that perhaps your interactions were never the best, but...
Alistair takes his hand away from yours and he looks to the floor. I would like you to roll. Pick your action for me, and then if you can make your roll. What are you picking?
I think perhaps with some of this, I think there is a little bit of perhaps almost fast talk going on. She's talking about this, not so much to deceive Costain in any way, but like it's that kind of running of her mind as she's thinking about it, because now it's present again and it's somebody who was in the situation. And I think she's almost hoping that if she can be honest about this, perhaps he will open up to her a bit as to, you know, what's going on here, and perhaps gaining some insight, perhaps he will then offer some more honesty her way.
Yeah, for sure. So roll me that persuasion test. I reckon convince.
Sure.
Yeah, I reckon it's simple.
1 bonus dice for Alistair. That is 20 plus disposition, right?
Yep.
So that's 23 plus all of Mara's other bonuses. 23, 24, 25, 26, 27. I didn't roll any ones.
Wowzers. All right. 4 degrees times a will rank of 4, 16. Can I take frustration? Frustration heals how much? Will rank, is it? Is that on the cheat sheet?
Gain a point of frustration to reduce incoming influence equal to your will rank. Each point of frustration you have imposes -1d on all persuasion tests. The intrigue, if your frustration equals your will rank, you are defeated.
The best. What's he got? Yeah, okay, cool. So let's do that. As he, what I imagine is, I can't remember if you said, but as you like pull your hand away, he grips his into a fist on the table. As he takes some frustration. So incoming was 16. Take away 8. Oh, okay. Gets pretty moody. He does. Gets pretty moody. God. Yeah, he needed that. All right. As he whispers, and shakes his head towards you. Such a shame. Such a shame. As you're talking about Sir Oliver. And I will roll. So it's +1 dice from the last thing. So he's already on. So that's my total dice pool. But I'm dropping. Wow, that's a lot to drop. And the modifier is that. 16 against your intrigue defense. No, 16 against your passive cunning.
That is 12.
Oh, wait, no! Right, you did fast talk,
No?
right?
Yes.
Right. Fucking retcon all that shit. Sorry, I'm just straight up influence. That's why I was...
Oh, you lose your cunning rank from your intrigue defense.
Yeah. Alright, cool. So cunning rank is that, so I will take that as my thing there. Okay, that's not so bad. That's not so bad. We're gonna re-roll that. We're gonna re-roll that shit. Don't at me. I know the rules. Right, so we're rolling that because he got that bonus, and then we're dropping. That's a keep dice, so we're only dropping those. And that gives me a 28. Now we do have some saucy intrigue critical hits now on the second page of the cheat sheet.
Ooh.
Yeah, alright. Is 28 double your intrigue defense?
Intrigue defense. My intrigue defense is 10.
So yes.
So yeah.
There is 1/6, which means it's a solid hit. Increase the base influence of your technique for this exchange by 2. So this was that. Oh, that's gonna be shite, isn't it? 28. Take away 10. It's gonna be 18. So 4 degrees of success. Right. All right. Yes. I am going to deal to you 12 composure damage.
Ooh, can I take frustration to avoid some of that?
Hell yeah. Minus your DR, obviously.
Oh, of course, yeah. So that
So take
is
2 off of that. So that's 10.
10.
And now, if you take 1 point of frustration, you will remove whatever your will rank is. I think is it 3, 4 now? Is it 4?
4 now,
4?
yeah. So
Yeah.
I will take a point of frustration.
Yeah.
So that takes it down to
6. No.
6.
6, yes.
Yes, 6. We can do math, Sam.
Shut up. So I mean, with your composure max at 12, that brings you to 6. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Top of the next round, as you hear those words, like, really get to your heart, like shame. You know, real shame. There was just a little bit of, you know, a twist of the knife in there. So pick your next technique, and I think about what he's doing next. Because I came up with that gambit just then, and then that was it, and I was like, "This is gonna be great," and now I don't know what to do.
I think she's going to go for convincing again, and she'll try and push to influence. Is she?
Sure.
That kind of gets to her, and she almost looks up and she's like, "It is, but the past is the past, and what's done is done. What I care about now is that the both of us," and she looks at Alistair, "get to move past this and hopefully have our child without this being dragged through for the next 9 months through court. I know you came to check on us, but is that all, or is there something more that you wish to say, Lord Costain? Please."
Well, you have hit upon something, and that is that this could be dragged through court. It would be important that you make the first move, as it were, to talk about what happened, and talk about the reasons and the motive behind trying to capture Sir Oliver.
We've already tried to make arrangements to speak to Lord Tyrell, although I'm not aware if Marcia sent word ahead. I don't know if she would have sent a raven or... She looks like...
I left Fox Hollow with the Cranes, her mother and father. She implored them to speak on her behalf. I fear they might be trying to seek an audience with his lordship or you.
Lord Costain, you were the one that told Alistair what Oliver had confessed. Surely you will vouch for his reasons as the person that incited this, as the person that heard it from his own lips.
Of course, but I don't know how much you have told her, but it was your husband who instigated the arrest. I merely told him what I had learned.
But I am sure that you would speak that you told him what you had learned in the hopes that justice would be done, not murder.
Of course. As much as I like the both of you, my lady, I'm not sure that you know me all that well. Not a physically strong man, not a bold man in that regard, and so it was my hope that maybe I could return to Highgarden to seek the advice of more militaristic men, perhaps, and seek the arrest of Lord Oliver at that point, but... well, as you said, the past is the past.
If you would be willing to offer the Lord Tyrell any information, even that it was just yourself that had heard it from Oliver's lips, so at least there is some proof, some testimony that that is the truth, I'm sure we would both be more than grateful. I'm not asking you to lie, Lord Costain, and say that anything that you don't know to be true, but you do know it to be true that Oliver confessed to this murder.
Absolutely.
That would be enough. The truth and nothing more. There have been too many lies that have destroyed too many great houses, too many great men. And I think she almost points that too many great men as she bestows it almost like a compliment on him in the hopes that it's just that kind of boost. She's not lying. She knows he is the head of a fairly powerful house, but she places the words very purposely.
Why don't you make the roll for me?
Okay.
And this is a straight up influence as well, is it?
Yeah.
So I've got that negative there.
I rolled 1, I think. So let me re-roll that.
I mean,
I think I rolled a 1.
Yeah. To replace any of the dice that you keep, you'll need to roll a 5.
Yeah.
No,
nope.
Not quite. So it's the same as that one you've still got there.
There are 2 6s in there, though. And the total will be 21.
It is currently double his intrigue defense.
Yeah, so, and then plus her other stuff is 21, 22, 23, 24, 25.
I mean, that is...
total.
That is 4 degrees of success. Yeah. So... With the critical hits, 2 6s in there, you said?
Yeah, it says, powerful hit. Increase the base influence of your technique for this exchange by +4.
So if your will rank is 4, your base damage is going to be 8.
Cool.
8 multiplied by 4 is whatever the fuck that is, and you have 1.
8's 24?
Yeah.
8, 16, 24. No, it's more than that. It's like 32.
We got there in the end, didn't we?
Yeah.
32 composure damage. So the critical hits do give us a bit of a speedier time of it, which is good. I forgot to add my solid hit earlier, but no, fuck whatever. And you have succeeded. So, speaking meta-wise, V, what is the one thing you want him to do? You want him to speak on Alistair's behalf and vouch for him and all that kind of stuff.
She wants him to. She doesn't want him to lie. She wants him to offer the truth and knowledge that he had, and say that Oliver did go to him and confess this murder in cold blood, and that he told this to Alistair in good faith and without reason to think that there would be... I'm assuming he wouldn't have told him, at least from Mara's perspective, you wouldn't tell somebody that if you thought they would act upon it in a way that would be negative. You would tell them that in the hopes that they would want to do the right thing. At least that's the way that she sees it. Her thought wouldn't be, Costain will tell him that, so Alistair will murder him. It would have been, Costain will tell him that in the hopes that Alistair will help bring this man to trial and justice, as Costain had intended.
Mm-hmm.
So just that the reason behind telling him was good intentions, and that he knows this to be the truth from Oliver's lips.
Cool. Alrighty. Certainly come around to that. Let's go back to Miria.
We just have an angry sip of wine after that.
I love you, Susie.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Uh-huh.
Uh-huh.
Alrighty. So we're gonna go to the kind of late afternoon, and I want to start kind of in media res and excuse kind of the setup for this, but I think it's going to be really fun. You are holding the shaft of a training spear with a wooden tip at one end and a heavy iron rimmed wooden shield in your left hand. Standing opposite you, 3 to 4 yards away is Sir Frederick, armed the same. He is standing, because we need a bit of beefcake. He is an older man, but athletic with it. In the now it's still quite hot, but now the kind of fading sun, it's starting to just head over to the west. So I just inadvertently dabbed there, I think it did. And you are circling each other. Sorry, left-handed. Circling each other with these spears. I'd like you to roll a agility quickness test, please.
Agility quickness. Okay.
Yes. You're going to reduce
go.
this result by 1, I think, just because the bulk of the shield and you, basically.
Because I'm little.
Right. Yeah, it's
just by 1 or 1d.
Well, this is what I'm wondering. If you can forgive me just spending a few seconds with the rulebook again, I will remember what bulk does, because we never fucking use it. Because it's more about actually. So what I'm bastardizing is armor penalty. Impose a penalty that you apply to the results. So just 1.
Just 1. Okay.
Not 1B or 1D.
Let's see.
A knight. I've got a. Don't close that.
5.
Whoa, all right then. Where's the?
No, 4. Sorry, reduce it by 1.
Cavalry Crusaders. A 4. Oof. All right, let me get my custom roll out here. So this is agility. Ugh, really? Okay. 3.
We're just really slow.
He's old. You're young and untrained.
Yeah.
You know, you slowly pace your way foot by footprint, circling around each other. As this is just something to pass away the time in the late afternoon and just kind of get away from the smarmy bullshit up in the keep. There's quite a lot of the these nightly crusaders that Dom rolled up here around, either drinking in the late afternoon, or that couple are watching you. Daira is also arms folded, watching you, and is actually not very far away, surprisingly. So she even could be kind of caught with a crossfire a little bit. But she doesn't want. She's still a little bit it's Frederick guy. She doesn't want to. She doesn't want to kind of leave your side too far. So, I mean, you'll go first, even with a 4.
Yeah.
But check over the little combat actions, and you've got 2 lesser actions, or you've got a greater action as your turn. So you can make one kind of attack action every round. You can't do 2 standard, for example. But you could try maneuver and standard attack, or you could try and cautious attack and then aim. I don't fucking know. But
well, we all know how well that maneuver went last time, and I think Maria is still playing back that last time that she couldn't even get close to him. He's too wily. So I think she's just gonna try a couple of little pokes over the top of her shield, just to test him out, feel him out. Okay, so this will be 2 standard attacks.
So you can only make one. You can only make one type of attack action. Sorry, you can only make one attack action.
Right. Gotcha.
In a turn. So you can't do 2 standard. You could do something in a standard, or you could do a counter attack, a reckless attack. Cautious attack is a lesser action. So you could. There's no real harm in maneuvering. You could try a maneuver and cautious attack or something like that. It's
all right. Let's do that. Let's try it again. She's learned. She's fought against him once, so we're gonna make a maneuver first.
Yeah.
11.
This is passive fighting, right?
Yeah.
Don just min-max these fuckers because it's 20.
Oh Jesus. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, no. But props for trying, and then she's gonna just try and do a little dinky dink.
Cautious attack. Or just a
Yeah.
standard?
Let's just do a standard.
Sure. So this is the straight fighting test.
That's 13.
Oh. And that, let's have a look. It beats their defense of 2. Because they're wearing quite heavy armor. They've got like half plate.
Okay.
So defense of 2 gives you 2 degrees of... Is it 3 degrees of success? Take away 2, you've got 11, so yes. 0 to 4 is 1 degree, 5 to 9 is 2 degrees.
Yeah.
10 and above is 3 degrees.
Okay.
What's the damage?
6.
6 damage? On your little spear?
Oh, from the spear? It's what? I don't actually know what a spear does.
Let's have a look.
Because if it's just on... Because I think it was... When we did the daggers, it was the her agility, right?
Yeah, it was, yeah. They have different stats depending on the weapon. At the end of the rulebook, you've got the reference tables. Let's flick through here. So, let's do a shield. I think it's athletics. Yeah, athletics based. So it's just straight athletics. What is your athletics rank?
2.
2. 2 for 6 damage.
Yeah, 6.
Against his armor rating of 9. I'm sorry, I can't be bothered to like ad hoc work out what a shirtless version would be.
No, it's fine.
So he's got fucking armor everywhere else, whatever. Yeah, but you know he strikes on the shield. He takes a few steps back, and I am going to roll a dodge action, which is my greater action.
Ooh.
Make an agility dodge or agility shields specialty test. I'm just gonna do. Oh god, I forgot his agility was 2. Fuck. Drop none. I'm gonna give him a bonus dice because he's got a shield. Feck it. Modifier 0. Boop. His combat defense is now 5. That's good. Sure. Yeah, as he kind of he does some fancy shit with the spear and he dodges and flips out the way a little bit. Does a bit of an over Martell and then he's gone back to he's on the back foot, so you're pressing the advantage here, I think.
Okay.
So what's your next move?
So because she's young, she's eager, she's got some shit to work out about Myron Martell dissing her to her face, going in with a reckless attack.
Yes, I love it. Plus 1 dice on your fighting test.
So
in exchange for -5 to your combat defense.
I've got like nothing combat defense. It's fine. Drop none.
It doesn't matter anyway.
He's gonna kick the shit out of me regardless if he hits. So that's a 13 again. Miria.
Well, all right. Up against a 5 though, 2 degrees, isn't it? So those 2 degrees are going to do like 4 damage.
Yep.
Yeah. So it's gonna ping off. I reckon he actually does some fancy spear against spear work, and he's like kind of moving it around, flicking it out the way and stuff. So that's quite clever. And then he is going to try and I'm going to try and maneuver you.
Ooh.
Yeah. So I'm going to make a fighting test against your passive fighting. So this is your 5. No, that's just 5. Well done, Sam. So you do have to put the 0 in drop.
Yeah.
I can fiddle with the macro, so that does it automatically. 17 against your passive fighting.
My passive fighting is 12, so that's 1 degree.
Nice, yep. 2 degrees, but sure.
2, yeah.
Yeah, because it's just the 5.
Yeah.
But we don't need any degrees of, I don't think. If you succeed, your opponent suffers -1 dice on all tests until the end of their next turn.
I imagine how this is like when she did her reckless attack, she sort of like lunged and left her body open. Like she separated her arm and spear.
And he's moved like right around the other side almost. And is then going to go in for a cautious attack.
Oh.
Yeah, fuck it. Needs to keep his combat defense up. So like he's obviously training with you. He's kind of being quite playful, and he's kind of showing you how to maneuver and what you can be done. By the end of this, we'll roll a persuasion test for the training as well. So this is going to be fighting, but we're going to drop a dice. There's no other modifiers, but he's going to get a +3 to his combat defense after this. 12 against your combat defense.
My combat defense is 10.
So only 1 degree. Fighting damage is... I mean, it's not 6 now, is it, son? Athletics is 3. So 3 damage.
3. Okay, that's fine.
There's a little thwack of a wooden spear tip. Like gets you in the ribs, but it's more the flat of the blade. It does a little kind of flick rather than a proper little stab.
I bet he like hits where he twatted her the other day. You know, she's already bruised, and she's
right,
like,
yeah. There could be a second in this fight as well that is like, ow, and he's like, turn around. You haven't got time for this. Turn around, and then she's like,
suck it up.
Back on guard, like, I don't like it. What's your next move?
Okay, I'm gonna. Gonna aim. She's gonna take a moment to sight him up because it says +1B on your fighting or marksmanship test.
Yeah.
So she's gonna just take a second, just use this breather to scope him out, and then she's gonna go in for just a normal standard attack.
Sure.
So it's +1B.
+1B. Lovely.
Bonus die 1. Oh, not 11. 1.
11 drop dice. That's not good, is it?
That is an 11.
Okay, so the defense now at the moment is 5, 2 degrees of success.
That's 4.
Yeah, as it pings off his armor again. And then he, for the sake of narration there, he like I want to meet at that like spear on spear, like inches from the face.
Clash.
Yeah, that clash, and then like stops like an inch from your face, and then it's like that. This is the killing blow, and we pause here, and they're like still. And then he kind of relaxes and he stands and wishes you a good fight.
You know, I think this is quite unfair. You're wearing armor, mostly.
Would you like to try some armor? She would like to try some armor, and there's like shouting at the guys, and there's kind of a little jovial laugh from their side of things. I figure out what the training thing is again, because I don't personally like that it has to be a quality, so I just straight up use the rules from it. It's like gifted teacher, isn't it? Yeah. All right, we're gonna roll a persuasion test. Cool. All right. So just straight up 2. No drop. That is a 9. You are going to get 2 bonus dice in spears when you next fight with spears.
Nice.
Good little roll from him there. Any less and you have only got 1, which is good.
Ooh.
Very cool.
Sweet. Okay. Jotted.
Very cool. Ooh, glass over there. As he sits down and enjoys the guys who are there as the other knights for a drink, he invites you and Daira to sit with him. And confesses that I do not care for the Martells to be here.
Can't say I'm extremely happy about it either.
You know what the Brotherhood of the Blood Royal was built for? Our pledge?
I regret that I don't.
When the Roiner came to southern Westeros with Nymeria, bought 10,000 ships, the Ironwoods controlled half of Dawn. From the top of the Boneway in the Will River, south halfway across the east of the Green Blood. But Nymeria wed Mors Martell, a coward. They were then the Lords of Standship. However, with their marriage and Nymeria's fleet, the Martells increased the size of their warhorse tenfold. Nymeria named her husband the Prince of Dawn and began to assert their control over all of this realm. The king of the time was King Yorick V. He was supported in Nymeria's war by his bannermen, Jourdain, Corgyle, Will, Blackmont, among others. In the 9th year of the war, Mors died at Yorick's hand at the 3rd Battle of the Boneway. But Nymeria took control of Martell armies, and it took another 2 years of fighting before Yorick bent the knee and was sent to the wall. For a time, the Ironwoods were the most powerful bannermen of House Nymeros Martell of Sunspear. But we went from kings to subjects. The Brotherhood of the Blood Royal does not recognize the Principality of Sunspear over this land. And we would readily take up arms again in order to secure Dawn to this house and its legacy. It is a shame your father is not here.
I wish he was.
Here we are being misguided.
What if I told you that your fears were true?
You understand what we speak is treason?
Yes, I've already been accused of that once.
You must tell me the story. I have shared one with you.
I discovered information relating to what you fear about a certain principality and its influence over members of this household.
Oh, this would not surprise me.
Their visit is clearly not just a courtesy.
And what of this information?
Let's just say that someone has stood to gain a lot of money, and that he didn't care about honor or family or history.
Why am I not surprised?
Yes, well, when he and my father met at the tourney, my father told me that he had called for him to be sent to the wall as he used poison on him. And yet here he is.
I wonder who secured that.
I know where the evidence is.
Of the poison?
Not necessarily of the poison, but of the words of the men that ordered it.
Intriguing. What do you tend to do with this information?
At this present moment, I'm not quite sure. I was waiting for my father to return, but he's still not back.
That is a shame. It has been time for him to have done his duty and returned here.
I fear that perhaps we should begin what he wanted.
What is that?
He promised me that together we would restore Ironwood. So, Frederick, my mother is a Blackmont. The blood of dawn flows in my veins. And now I'm here, I don't intend on letting that slip away.
Did not finish the story. Unfortunately, it's not a very happy ending. Brotherhood of the Blood Royal used to call 1,000 knights its brothers. And now we are but 20 men. You need more than just some drunk old men to restore this throne.
Yes. Perhaps I should reach out to my cousins.
Perhaps. Seems you're being called. And as you look, as the sun just starts to set over by the keep, you see the figure of the old lady, Ironwood, Helena, looking around and kind of waving at you from one of the doors.
And Maria she'll kind of like put a hand on Sir Frederick's arm and just give it a light squeeze as she gets up. And she says, "Thank you for the training and for the story. Perhaps we can revisit it soon."
I'd like nothing more.
And she gives him a polite nod and hurries off to Mama Ironwood.
Sure. Mama Ironwood is fussy as anything. She's like brushing you down. Like sees a little rip in the side of your dress and is like, "What are you doing?" She entreats you to get back to your quarters, get on some fresh like garb for the freaking first feast, and like the carousing is already going on, and like you need to kind of you need to get on the dais, kind of stuff. Is there anything that you want to do apart from just get on a new frock and get there?
I think she takes a little bit longer than maybe is necessary to get ready, because she's just like had this incredibly treasonous conversation and she's like, "Oh, get this shit unlock." But I don't think there's anything in particular that she wants to do beforehand. She's just getting her game face on, getting as trussed up as she can.
Sure, okay. Tomorrow, or like in the kind of the next session, timey-wimey stuff, you'll get the opportunity to get the stuff back into the cabinet. And also
I imagine she probably moves it, because Daira's like, "Don't keep your shit in one place all the time."
Yeah. Nice. Bit of tradecraft.
So she'll moves it around as she's getting ready. But she's definitely dwelling on that conversation she just had.
For sure. Love injecting a bit of history in it as well. Cool, alright. So you enter the Great Hall of Ironwood and its sandstone walls. braziers have been lit, as it can be quite dark in here, so it is smoky. It's quite close as well, with the heat of the day still just hanging in the air slightly, as thin little hounds are running down this end of the hall, kind of towards the much lower end. Wine and lots of wine is being passed around, and this is quite the debauched end, and you start making your way up towards the dais. Already on there, you see Horatio on the right-hand side, or stage right, of Lord Maron Martell. Maron has been given the head position at the table, as is kind of expected. If the prince rocks into town, he takes your seat and you sit next to him. And then next to Horatio, on your left, is Daenerys. Next to Daenerys is just taking her seat is Helena. And then on, so as I said, Horatio's right. No, sorry. So your right, if you're looking at Horatio, is Maron Martell. And then next to him is Lady Jane Ironwood. And then your empty chair next to Jane. So as you head up there, you sit and you enjoy the first of several courses of food. Over the course of several light courses of spicy food, rich tart red wine, gifts are presented from the Martells to the various members of the family and household. You yourself, let's just throw my pen around. You yourself are given something fancy. I wish I had something like really fitting in my head. What? Right, Susie, GM head on. What is something that's just like poetically, like just unintentionally nasty for Miria to get as a gift right now? Something on a necklace, not a stabbing rock, but like something. Like maybe a fucking tiara. She just had a chat about taking her throne.
And it's like a little like diadem thingy.
Right.
I don't know. Those are usually associated with royalty, though. Like they're like usually just officially for royalty.
Oh, okay.
Do
you get fucking dumb tiara or
something?
Yeah.
It's like a hair piece that kind of looks.
Yeah.
Which she can't use because she's got short hair.
Yeah. But this is the poetry. Is it's so it's got like this. Charlie's brilliant here, right? So it's got like it's like a gem, like Nemiria's star type thing, like kind of in it. And yeah, it's kind of right. So this is the irony. It's kind of weirdly crowned on your head by Lord Maron himself. I reckon. Yeah. Right, as he is presenting these gifts, and as he's presenting them, the whole feel of the thing that you get is the opulence of the Martells coming here. They've brought all this nice stuff with them, all of these all this beautiful fare that everyone is eating and drinking, and they're presenting these gifts to the entire household. Jane's got a beautiful silk dress that's like, you know, inlaid with gems. Like, she's basically got like a fucking Westeros sequins dress. Like, yeah. But like, so, you know, something that rivals the beauty of what Daenerys wears. Lady Helena is probably given something like awfully apt as well as a widower. I just I can't quite think to that just yet. Weirdly enough, Horatio isn't actually presented with anything specifically. It's like he, in a way, in a setup, what I imagine is happening is that Lord Martell, they're doing a bit of a weird double act. Lord Martell is giving out these things and is having a little like It's the bit with the Queen that you'd never hear. It's like he's having the little chats with people, and it's like with you, I can imagine it. He's like, "Oh, isn't that nice?" Like he just kind of puts it on and he kind of makes some awful small talk. But it's Horatio who is like basically proclaiming these things, and he's like, "Enter so and so, we give the thing," and he's fucking loving it. I mean that is the sense you get essentially. Gifts for members of the house.
I think after like after they've left like this end of the table that we're at, Maria just grabs her wine cup and just takes a big old sip.
Yeah. But Lord Martell turns at the end of this like gift giving bizarre ad hoc ceremony, and speaks seriously for a moment as he tells the entire hall that on the journeys here from King's Landing by Tar through Shipbreaker's Bay and the Sea of Dawn, we have heard of a greatly grave message that was delivered at the tourney of the King's Hand. That message, it is believed, was that from Tyrosh. And the Blackmonts, not the Blackmonts, fuck me. So many blacks and greens and all sorts of fucking people. The Blackfyres themselves, headed by that cowardly, ignoble, asshole, Bitter Steel Rivers. They killed Lord Arryn as an emissary in Tyrosh, in cold blood. His Grace, the Hand of the King, the protector of this realm, Prince Baelor, was willing to have his son marry into the Tyroshi merchant conclave in order to secure Tyrosh and their allegiance to Westeros. But instead, Aegon Rivers got hold and somehow presented his dead body on a horse at the tourney. I beseech, and I need Ironwood more than any of this realm to be vigilant and to work with the Crown and Sunspear to watch for any sense of further rebellion. And he kind of like, he was building up to something, but then he's like kind of... And then Horatio stands and kind of like proclaims, "And you will have it." And there is like, it's you can imagine that it was meant to be some like, there's going to be this big cheer kind of thing, like something's going to happen there, but then like there's some smattering of applause and kind of stamping of cups and stuff, but then like there's a bit of that. What you catch towards the end of the hall, stood just assembled at the kind of debauched end by the open doors at the end of the Great Hall, stand some of the Brotherhood as they look on.
I think as this speech was happening, Maria would be like, where would Daira be? Is she like even in this hall, or is she like out?
She's on a table not too far from you, just down, on one of the lower tables. But yeah.
Yeah, I'd be like just trying to read Dare's expression, because mentioning bitter steel and that first conversation that they ever had, Maria's like, yikes. She's obviously trying to keep it like, you know, she's maybe got like a hand up to her mouth, but she's looking at like Dara like, huh?
Yeah. Daira's giving you that concerned look, I'm sure. Okay. So I mean, apart from that, you've got a lot of the rest of the feast to go. Lady Jane looks fairly happy next to her father. Obviously, again, as we've kind of said, I don't want to dwell too much on it, but quite young, a bit younger than you. And I think you were saying, like, to me, you wanted to try and like get in with her a little bit.
Yeah.
Try and get in there. How did you want to approach that? Seeing as you are literally sat next to her now at this point.
Yeah. I think so Maria has been kind of planning this for quite some time. And she's been watching Lady Jane, especially at dinner time. And she's been looking for the things that Lady Jane likes a lot, that she, you know, that her like favorite foods. And I think Maria has saved up some from like her own and just kind of like slides it to her on the sly with a little smile. Because it's not very ladylike, right, to indulge in a lot at the table.
Nice.
But this is just a little sneaky thing between the two of them.
All right. What was that fucking dish that Don came up with, like spiced snake or something?
Yeah, with like a drop of venom on it.
Yeah. Like you've left her one of your fillets, like one of your slices, for sure. Yeah. And she looks over this plate that's just been kind of slided her way a little bit, and she's just like, because she's just finished hers, and she's talking to her dad a little bit, and then she's just like, "Oh, thank you.
You're welcome. It's our secret."
Everyone can see. And she like points to like everyone in the hall who's obviously in front of you guys.
Just, nobody's looking.
And she like little knife and fork, she like picks it up off the plate and pops it on hers, and then she's like eating away.
You know, this is a signature dish of House Ironwood. It's my father's favorite.
Nice. She's like hot, like mouthful, like half like, oh, okay, ready. Just like fucking wolves it down.
And she's making very like polite conversation, you know, just lighthearted stuff like, isn't your dress so lovely? Isn't it so nice to see family again?
That other dress you've got is gonna be so nice.
Oh my god.
Yeah. Nice.
She's like, she's just laying on the charm, you know.
Sure.
Like, we're just a couple of girls just chatting.
For sure.
Pals.
Why don't you roll me charm?
Yeah.
And I'll have a look at her. I'll have a look at my minor lady narrator character.
Okay. So,
so this just be against her passive will.
Let me just make sure I've got things that help
massive,
my charm.
let me tell you. You've got all the things, right?
I have a million things. Mainly for lying, but not that I would ever lie.
Ever? Nope.
Ever.
Nope.
Ever lie.
Nope.
Persuasion charm. So that is 4. Drop 1 with a 2 bonus. Is it? Do you have to put +2 in the modifier, or is it just 2?
Just 2.
Okay, and go. Miria!
That was awful.
That was terrible. Absolutely trash.
Is that everything you've got?
For charm, yeah.
I haven't got any like qualities that do funky things.
No.
That's fine, because you did it.
Yay!
Yeah, got what you needed. So she is going to her disposition is going to improve towards you by 1. I will write that. I need a Lady Jane character. I'll write that in my little diary, little notebook. Where'd I throw my pen? There we go. Oh, gotta add that in.
I think as well, towards as you can always feel like these conversations petering off. And I know that like her dad sat next to her, so she's not going to try and like all her time. But she's gonna just lightly reach over and again sort of like squeeze her arm very gently and say, you know that should you need it, my door is always open.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
You know, she's,
Yeah.
I know the nights can be quite cold and lonely.
Yeah.
And then she just
All
go,
right.
whoop-a-doo.
I think she gives you a little knowing look, like,
Mhm.
oh, because they do not sleep in the same chambers.
No.
So she's got one that's like off, just off his, probably a door or two down. But yeah, that's where you've heard the crying.
Mhm.
For sure. All right. With that, you head to bed. When you wake, you look up and you are outside. You are atop a mountain. And as you look round, you see just down on the other side of a deep valley, a little stream running through the bottom. One of those structures, one of those man structures where men like to dwell, and they're dangerous and they're to be avoided. But the night is, and the moon of a clear sky is guiding you as something compels you to head south. There's a soft breeze on the air. The smell of the wild fills your nostrils. And you pad down the other side of the mountain towards the south. Down below you, there's a winding path. Or there's a more precarious position. Down the winding path, you can see a fire. The flickering orange light that signifies danger again. Possibly man again. But the way to your left, down these rocks in this possible ravine, could be dangerous, but the red mountains stretch out in front of you. What would you like to do?
Oh, okay. So, I'm gonna try and go for so the to the like the left of me that it's really treacherous ground, right? It's really
Yeah. Essentially, essentially that's going to be the challenge is
yeah,
navigating those rocks, whereas the challenge moving
it's
around the
just
men
slinking
might
past.
be slinking past. It might be just like fucking going for him and trying to scare him
Mhm.
off or something. This those are your instincts. Your instincts tell you
Yeah.
you are going to need to like fight again, and
Mhm.
with that thought, you remember the wound on your front left leg.
Mm.
Take a second and lick it.
Gonna I'm gonna try and sneak past the men, I guess, because I don't trust that I'm not gonna fall and die on the treacherous grounds. Oh, this is so cool.
All right. So for chat, I've just shown Susie the Salastraya sheet.
I'm a cat.
You're a cat. All right. That's a lot of stealth. Jesus. All right. So you are wanting to stealth around the men.
Uh-huh.
All right. Time to pilot the cat.
Okay.
You're more like along for the ride at this point. You've not graduated yet. Okay, but you're along for the ride. All right. So I need you to sneak round the men.
Okay.
These men are gonna have an awareness of 3, so the passive is 12.
If I get Salastraya killed, I'm naturally never going to hear the end of it. So
I know, right?
please do not let me down, dice. That's an 11.
Right. Hold up. They got some special rules. I'm positive they got some special rules. I'm not trying to just save you. I do think there's something that they do.
This is the worst episode of Evangelion.
Of what?
It's an anime.
Oh, okay. Hounds? Nope. Shadowcat. There she is. Shadowcats gain a keep dice at night.
Oh, okay.
Roll a keep dice.
Let's just add an extra dice on that. That's a 4.
15.
Yeah, nailed it.
Nice. That's what you. So you dropped one dice. You kept a 1, a 1, a 2, a 3, and a 4. All
It's
right.
Nuno.
No.
I'm cursed.
The Nuno plague.
It's spreading.
It's spreading. All right, yeah, you you almost lose your footing on some loose rocks around outside of that. Do you know what? Because this actually, I don't know if this actually happened to me at LARP or whatever, but this does, it provides some little bit of emotional memory for me for some reason. Every single muscle in your body tenses, and you just stop moving, not a single millimeter, as one of these men, you can see the fire, the light of the fire shimmering against his face, looks at you, and you just like the cats, like they just stop, and this guy kind of gives you a little peer around and then scans the rocks around you, and then one of his mates slaps him on the shoulder, and they go back to drinking out of these things. And this proper cat, like, it's slowly pad like around the campfire. You continue to make your way south. I would now like you to roll for me a orientation check, please.
Orientation.
This is where Charlie's been doing really badly, but Salistria is actually naturally very good.
Okay. What? Is that under survival?
Survival orientation, yeah.
Well, she don't have a bonus dice in that, so it's just a flat roll. $18.
Very nice. Okay. What you can see before you is the, I don't even know what the technical term is, but like it's almost like the crest line of the mountain, that heads north south. So you, from the vantage point you're looking like down this mountain that goes into a valley, and then the next mountain essentially that comes up to you, you can see snakes from your northerly position south. So you're seeing both sides of that mountain going to two valleys. To the left of that, I wouldn't say you can't see the sea from there, I don't think. But this compulsion is leading you over that, over towards that mountain, particularly in a southerly direction.
Keep going.
Absolutely. And as you stalk through the mountains in the night, you can feel something else just the back of your head. It's like eyes looking at the back of your head. That kind of spooky feeling. You even can't help it. You stop, you look back. There's no one there. And then you continue on through the night. And Miria can remember this. Dream if she likes, I think.
Yeah.
That's up to you. But that is about time, folks. That is when we will wind up our session tonight. Oof.
Oof.
Oof. Some juicy fruits have come out tonight. Quite kind of cool and low key. Although I really enjoy smaller groups now, particularly drilling into the detail of like one or two characters. Obviously, like, really enjoyed the alien stuff we did, and this just keys in more to that kind of getting into the details of what characters want to do and pursuing all those little moments that we might brush over in the wider game. Really nice. Thank you very much, friends. That was awesome. Really enjoyed that. Let's go around. Let's talk about it. You know, Fit, your camera frees up a bit there, but you're back with us, aren't you?
Yes, I am back. I've been stress eating because I'm nervous.
You know what I think that's done? Your microphone's different now. I reckon it's flipped the microphone somewhere.
Oh, hold on.
Oh, that's not too bad. It's a bit tinny, but we can chat for the last couple of minutes. Change it.
Is that better?
It's like twice now. What's going on there?
I don't know.
Oh,
we're getting it in like double stereo.
Is that better?
No.
I don't know what's happening.
That is super fun. I think you should just keep it like that.
Down a well.
It does sound a bit like you're in a big room somewhere with an echo. Charlie said you're turning into Q for tomorrow, which makes sense.
The transformation is happening already. Is that better? Does it fix itself?
No.
What is that? I don't know what's going on. It's super weird.
It sounds like you've like radioed in. I love it.
Does this work?
No.
V, can you just say for me, we are the Borg. The technological and biological differences will be assimilated and added to our own.
Oh, I'm sorry. I don't know what's causing this now. I don't know what my computer's been doing, but how bad is it?
It's basically both your microphones are now working. So one of them sounds normal, but then we're also getting the kind of tinny, echoey version as well. So it's like a weird short reverb. That's what it sounds like.
Is it Roll20?
Might be.
Because I can't hear it.
Yeah, for sure.
So maybe Roll20 has just decided to pick up the microphone.
But on the chat tech, I've chosen nothing. So there's no one can do it. Yeah, it sounds like a double input.
Oh, I will investigate.
Oh well. Virginia is a person online that you should follow. She does streams and stuff.
Yeah. Tomb Raider 2 starts next week. I'm over on Encounter Roleplay tomorrow doing Star Trek, which should be fun. It's the crew's first mission. I'm going to throw them into the thick of it. So that should be good.
More Borg requests are coming in via chat, by the way.
We are the Borg. Resistance is futile.
There you go.
I don't know what's happening. This is going to be interesting.
Yeah, fair. Hopefully it'll get fixed for tomorrow.
I'm sure it will be. It's probably when my cam disconnected and reconnected now. It's Zoom's in browser.
No, hang on. It's the Logitech one, isn't it? That like everyone's got. Does that has a mic in it, right?
Yes.
Right. I was using that mic for ages, and I wondered why my sound was so tinny, and then I realised that I hadn't actually fucking used this one yet.
Zoom is telling me that I'm using my fancy condenser mic. That's what is selected.
Who the fuck knows?
It's probably because Zoom's in browser and Chrome hates me. So.
Yeah, probably. To be fair. All right. Well, thank you, fam. Are there any juicy fruits to follow up tonight? Is there anyone? I'm going to start doing this after the session because it's all fresh in people's heads, and they're all like, "Oh, I didn't think." Is there anyone that you want to like? Is there anyone you want to intrigue? Is there anyone you want to go to? Is there anything you want to try and do next time for you?
Mara wants to go and find out if Simon's left any messages for her.
Yeah, we've got to tie that up. Right, right. Simon?
Yeah.
Question mark? No.
Yeah. I also think that perhaps, like, obviously she wants to send that letter to Marcia, which I will resend to you because Zoom chat hates formatting.
Yeah.
And I think, I don't know, I think there's a bit of her that perhaps wants to, I don't know if Highgarden has a Godswood, but wants to find...
It does.
She will want to go to the Godswood, because she hasn't been in the Godswood since, I think it was when Marcia brought everybody up there.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah.
a few nights before everything went to hell.
Yeah, there's that.
I think that's what Mara wants to do.
All right, cool. Lovely. Well, thank you very much, V. I'll put that in there, and you'll send me that letter. Fab. All right. Susie. Not a lot of action, but a lot of juice, right?
Oh, so juicy. See, look, you accuse someone of being a traitor, they're going to end up being a traitor, and I'm here for it. As you know, I've said since day one, Queen of Dawn, I'm making that happen. I'm making it happen.
It's gonna be awesome. Legit.
Oh, Frederick's so cool. I can't wait for him to die horribly for me.
I love when history gets injected into like kind of discourse and the Game of Thrones stuff. So that was just a joy to read through. That's pretty much just the wiki entry. I just flamed it up. But it's like, great.
That's Game of Thrones, right? It's ancient rivalries and ancient things. Even though like it's been hundreds of years. No, not yet. Nearly since all that kicked off. Like it's well beyond Frederick, right? He wasn't alive when Nymeria was conquering Dawn, but he still feels it passionately because it's drilled into him, like with Alistair and the Wills, right? It's like that ancient beef. And I'm like, yes, stir the pot, give me a kingdom. But in terms of things I'd like to do, I want to be like, hey, Mama Ironwood.
Okay.
I heard some shit about your boy.
Oh, juice. All right.
Miria.
You
know, she must be like,
Miria intrigue, Helena. Mm-hmm. That is a straight up insight intrigue for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've said that I've been kind of want to low key start turning the house against Horatio. This is me putting the wheels in motion.
Yeah, cool. Okay.
She's had this talk with Frederick, and she knows that she's probably got some backup now if things go tits up.
Have I got some juice for you later? Brilliant.
All
right.
And I kind of hikey want to send a note out to Blackmont again, being like, hey, do you remember when I warned you about everybody showing up to kill your dad? Well, getting in a favor, bro.
Yeah.
Because, and then, because she's in the perfect position to do that, being in the Mace's office. She's got all the letters. She can just slide that out with the letters.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the kind of thing I want to do.
All right. By all means, write that letter, and then what we'll do is, I want to do that in session to sneak that out because I think that's important.
Mm-hmm.
Letter to Blackmont from Miria. Brilliant. All right. Awesome. Well, just quickly again, then, where can we find you next? What are you up to next week?
Next, you'll find me on my channel tomorrow doing some bullshit, probably shooting some Nazis.
Cool.
And then on Saturday, I'll be on Encounter Roleplay at 8 p.m. GMT, which is 3 p.m. Eastern, for the Meat Grinder, where we are again raising funds for Black Girls Code, which is a really cool charity that helps to get young Black girls into STEM and coding and that kind of cool stuff. So please come along and chuck us a few quid because it's a really good cause. And tune in for that.
Super nice. All right.
And Crownlands on Monday. I forgot. For the other Game of Thrones thing.
Crownlands Monday. You can find that on Encounter Roleplay as you link there. I'll pop up Charlie's message in chat as well for that. Otherwise, fam, if you like this or if you wanted to find out more about Black Cats Gaming, you can check out our Discord channel. We talk about all the juicy fruits, all the tinfoil, all the kind of stuff that's going on in this game, as well as all the stuff that we're prepping up for the spy game. I know we keep saying it, our late pledges are just around the corner. They literally are. We're testing them right now, and they're looking good. So you'll be able to get into that if you haven't already backed the Kickstarter. We're still, I'm working my way through. I wrote lots of words about how flamethrowers were awesome the other night. Because we've got to make several pages of equipment sound interesting, and not just dice. So I was doing that very recently, and we're going to move on to completing all the vehicles stuff and all that kind of jazz. So yeah, you can find out more about that around the interwebs. Check out the links below in my thing. You can follow Black Cats on the Twitters, Facebook, and also here on Twitch. So please do follow us.